already had my post-workout, which you probably saw. Again, you'll notice that there's a lot of parts of my day that stay the same. I try to keep a consistency, and that is on purpose. That is that is highly intentional. It just allows me to really commit to my plan, to stay disciplined, but I also have a very open consciousness and awareness to the fact that I know some days things might look differently. Today I did have another early morning, so I was headed to the gym by 4 a.m. this morning because my husband had not work, but he has an early tea time. So we try to just work around that, and I say we, but sometimes I feel like it's mostly me. But again, I love going to the gym in the mornings. I don't mind that, but every now and then, like if there's stretches of days where I'm having to go at this time, it does kind of get me to an exhaust, and so we try to space it out. We try to make it work. But I am expecting a phone call from my coach in just a little bit. We're going to discuss the possible timeline of shows and when like my first actual prep would begin. This 8
Now that I'm older, with these moments, will I live for them or just throw them away?
In this 8-week program that I was on was technically a prep. As I mentioned in one of the other clips, you would have seen that it was referred to as like a prep simulator. So I was doing all of the things, and so I anticipate that when I'm on an actual prep, it won't change much, but I'm sure the intensity of it will look and feel differently just because I will be closer. I will be pushing my body to a different extent than I did this time around, especially because I have lost more fat, so I will be getting leaner, and then just energy levels I'm anticipating will be very different. But I'm saying all of that not to, there is a nervousness that I feel, and I'm not afraid of it, but I'm also just trying to prepare myself for it. And so far, this mentality that I've had has been beneficial, just sort of, again, prepping myself for what is to come, just from things that I've learned. And also, again, I have been through something similar to this. I say similar because the other 2 times that I was in prep, and I also failed to mention that there was one time I was trying to get back on stage. It was around the time of COVID, and then well, you don't know, but I went through a few weeks of like a prep, and then decided that I didn't want to step on stage because I was looking into all the rules and everything, and people were stepping on stage wearing masks, and I just felt like the whole experience was going to be just not what I wanted it to be when I got back on stage. Lo and behold, it would be this. I didn't know that I would even consider it again, that I would even have the chance or the opportunity to do that again, to live this again years down the road, because this was around, what's 2026, what was COVID years, was like 2020-ish, 2019-ish. And so yeah, I think just kind of having that background knowledge has helped me, but also things that I have learned from things that I've watched on YouTube and things that I've studied just on my own. Again, kind of gaining more knowledge of what my body is going through, and will be going through this process. But as I was making my shake this morning, I don't think I said it yesterday, but some of the things, like I just want like my water bottle thing, marking it, they're just things that I just like want to remember. They feel significant to me because they have actually helped so much. And just being in this place, like taking this as seriously as I am, but also having that balance. But I say that because, like, I remember thinking the first time I got on stage, and then later on learning so much more about bodybuilding. But I remember, like, before I learned all of that, thinking, like, do people really actually take their meals everywhere they go? And like, is that really a thing? Like that sounds so inconvenient, and like, how do they warm it up and all this stuff? And then I just felt like that was just insane. And now it's like, that's what it takes. And now I truly have understood the phrase of fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And that runs through my mind constantly. So yeah, there's just so much more knowledge going into it this time. But anyway, when I was making my shake, I thought of how I shared that sometimes I save 2 ounces of my almond milk that I am allotted for my post-workout. And I also hate to like run out of, I don't want to like not have what I need. So like I have a mental note of, I'm probably just going to order my protein. That's been nice because I use half a scoop, and so it's lasted longer than it would have if I used the whole scoop, obviously because of the servings. But like as soon as I know that I'm running low on something, I make a note of it, so I have my board. And that's been a thing, like that's a practice that I have had for a long time. One, noting things, but also keeping, we have like a whiteboard where I put all of like our groceries and things that we need, and that helps me stay on top of stuff. That's a practice in itself that is applied here and applied in my real life, and it's just something that I am accustomed to already. But to the point of the almond milk thing, I also, because whenever I'm hungry throughout the day, I sip on a drink, on a soda or something. On training days, what it looks like is I have my regular cup of coffee, caffeinated coffee, on the way to the gym because I have caffeine in my rice cakes as my pre-workout right now in my plan. And then when I get home, because I enjoy a cup of coffee with my breakfast, I do decaf. And I might furthermore, I wanted to kind of just touch on where like my mental space is. So my first video ended with me walking figure 8 circles around my house to get my steps in. And I feel like I was overall positive about where I was. And I wanted to share because the very next day, that would have been a Sunday, or I don't know, but it was the day after that, because that day was a rest day. So that very next day, the next day was a rest day, and I just had cardio. Nope. I just remember waking up, and it was probably the first time that I felt like I didn't want to go to the gym. And I felt like it was so ironic because the night before I had just been, overall positive about where I was and where I stood. And I did mention like there had been some days that were challenging, or maybe I didn't, but up until that point, there had been some days that were more challenging than others, which is to be expected. But I just felt like after having had that, talk and being able to kind of express the things that I expressed, waking up that very next day, feeling the way that I was feeling, just felt a little bit unaligned, and there was like a disconnect. But then I realized I've had that feeling before, and I think that's just something that I wanted to mention, is that that's part of it. I'm not motivated to go to the gym every day, but I'm truly just in enjoyment of this process, and that's what keeps me going. I also like knowing that I have committed myself to this for myself really keeps me accountable, and that's another thing that keeps me going. But I just wanted to take a minute to kind of reflect on where I'm at right now with everything. A part of me wishes I would have started documenting sooner, because before, like maybe these last few weeks where I've seen the changes that I've seen, I won't say that I wasn't as confident, because I think coming into this I have high hopes for myself, and I have expectations, and maybe some people will say that it's not good to have expectations that are too high or whatever, but I have expectations for myself going about this. I didn't choose to do this because I felt like it was going to be easy. I decided to do this knowing it was going to be a challenge, and I also decided to do this expecting to be successful at it. And I have such a different, like my mind has shifted so much from the first times that I was a bodybuilder. And I say that because my lifestyle didn't really represent what a bodybuilder's lifestyle is, and I have learned to appreciate and respect it so much more. And I'm so grateful to be able to go through the process and go through the things that a bodybuilder goes through, and to just know that I'm doing all of the things that they do. To be able to refer to myself as such, like that in itself is such a win, because at the beginning it was not easy for me. Like there were days where I would wake up consistently, but I would still check my boxes. I would still do the things I needed to do. But in the back of my mind, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And it wasn't so much, I think, why am I doing this? It was more so, what am I doing? Because I would see myself, like I would see my reflection, and I would just think like, Alex, you're being silly. Like, you know, there was that voice. And it wasn't the voice that I feel was my highest self. I knew that it was a voice. I know that it's a voice because it comes through every now and then with a little bit of doubt and with more fear than I think I should have, because I think if you dream big enough, there should be a little bit of fear. So I mentioned, like, there isn't a fear of me going into prep, but there is still a little bit of, you know, of fear because it is unknown. So, and I don't know if you'll be able to make sense of that. But I think this is just where I'm at, and I'm kind of just allowing myself to let things flow. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of express and kind of, like I said, I wanted to have a little bit of a moment of reflection to kind of just disclose kind of where I'm at right now. And I think it's just important for me to be real with myself. Of course, I will be the first to give myself a reality check, and be very open and honest with myself. But yeah, there's nothing in my mind that I feel I want to accomplish that I feel like I won't accomplish. And that just feels really good. And yeah, I'm really excited for this phone call with my coach. I have been looking forward to just being in this spot for a long time. But another thing is what's making me like see myself truly enjoy this process is the fact that, like, it doesn't even really cross my mind. Like, yes, I think about how many weeks out of a certain show I am at a certain day, but like the time is going by so fast, and I think it's going by so much faster than it would be if I weren't enjoying the process. And that's how I know I really am, because it's like when I think about it, and it's like, oh, I'm almost 12 weeks out from X show, and almost, 16 weeks out from this show, and whatever. In my mind, I'm like, that's not a whole lot of time. And on the same note, I don't feel pressured. I don't feel like if I were to start prepping for that show, would I be ready? There's not a doubt in my mind. And I think a lot of that, or I know a lot of that, goes into the trust that I have for my coach, but also the trust I have for myself. And I truly believe that when something is meant for you, there will be paths that you will be led down, and doors, or two doors, that will just be wide open for you. And in a lot of those doors stand the people that are meant to be part of your tribe, part of your village. They are the people that are meant to help push you to where you're supposed to get to. And you're like, no matter what you could do in your life before you meet those people, nothing's going to prevent you from meeting the people you're meant to meet. Nobody's going to prevent you from being in the presence of the people you're supposed to be in the presence of. And that's why I feel like I know that there is inspiration meant to be had from something that I'm saying, because I have this push, and something is drawing me to come on here to share this journey, and not just share it or to document it to keep it for myself, but to share it and get it out in the world. Because there's really nothing that happens by coincidence. I believe that everything really does happen by a certain destiny, and I have a lot of faith in that, and I'm going to continue to have faith in that, because I have never been, and I know that I will never be, forsaken by God. Like, and I can truly feel there have been instances where things have happened that I really, really wish didn't. There are things happening right now that I wish weren't. Things within my family, within relationships within my family. But I have so much faith in the fact that this is the way things are supposed to be, at least for right now, where I'm at right now, where we are right now. and I don't question it anymore. I don't doubt it. And it's the same thing that goes for like the people that are in my life. However small my circle will be, has been, or however big it will get, there's just so much intention behind the people and the village that I know that I'm creating and drawing in. And yeah, I just feel very lucky that you could be part of that and that you are allowing me to share this experience and this journey with you. And so I want to give you another thanks. I'm also going to wrap this up because the phone call is coming up with my coach very soon. So think of me, wish me luck. I know that it's going to be a good phone call and there'll be good news. There will be good news. And I just feel like after the phone call, I think things are going to feel really real. And I'm excited for that. Also, my shoes came in yesterday, my heels. So I don't know if I will insert the clip or if it will be inserted, but I had ordered a different style from the Shoe Fairy. I ordered the strappy Vixen style and I really liked them. They were super comfortable. I felt good walking in them, but the front strap was a little bit loose. And as I looked more into it, and also I started to just kind of like doubt it because I was like, oh, I want to feel more secure. So I just opted for the same Vixen Olympian, but the ones with the ankle strap, which I originally didn't want, but if I'm going to feel more secure in them, I will take them. After phone call is probably when I will get into take a quick shower. I need to charge my mics. If you'll notice, I don't have it on. I started with it on and I forgot that yesterday I mentioned it was dead and needed to be charged. So I took those off. But I'm going to charge those and then, yeah, maybe work on content again a little bit. And I think I'm going to probably end up making that a routine, which will be good because I enjoyed yesterday. And I don't think there's anything specific I need to do this morning. So yeah, again, you'll see me on here just as soon as I'm able to jump back on. Until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. I hope that you find some fulfillment and some joy, spread some extra love around, hug the people that you're with and enjoy what you're doing, and just take into consideration whatever changes you're being pulled or pushed to make, because there is reason behind those. One thing I will mention is that I am definitely in a point where I am in a sweater as often as I can be, because I am already feeling so cold all of the time. And I've heard of this, I've learned of this when you start to kind of lean out. And yeah, I think that's kind of the place we're at right now, because yeah, I get so uncomfortable. And that brings me to another point regarding cold, is that vitamin C, by the way, I've been using this for a few years maybe. And honestly, it took me some time to navigate through how I was going to, that's the word of the day, navigate, like my skincare, because I have a good routine. I use minimal products, simple products, but waking up earlier now, and I didn't want to be putting my ointments and stuff on, or not ointments, my products on, going to the gym, wiping my face and wiping it all off. I don't know if that's logically actually how it works, but that was another thing too I had to learn along the way. And now I've got it pretty down. In the shower, I wash my face, and then I have like a citrus body scrub, which is really nice, especially in the mornings, because citrus is supposed to energize you, wake you up. Aromatherapy has become also a big for me in the last few years. And I'm saying all this because it took steps, and it takes steps to get to where you want to make those big changes. And the small steps are good. The small steps are a reminder. Like, if you can keep the reminder in your head that these small steps are leading to bigger ones, then that should be enough to like keep doing it, because from those small changes, that will transpire into larger changes. Sometimes you don't know what those larger changes are even going to be that you will make eventually, but you've got to start with the smaller ones. And a lot of people, I feel like, are like, oh, just start. But it's like, it's also important to know where to start, because you have to be practical with yourself where you are in that moment. You have to be aware of just so much in order to be able to commit to your starting point, because it's easy to start. It's also easy to stop when you can't commit and you can't be consistent enough. Back to topic though, regarding cold. This was just like a water-based cream. I used to use a Neutrogena one, and then they carried it at Costco, so that was great score there at Costco. But then they stopped selling the Neutrogena one, and they got another one, but it's like the same thing. So I just I go with this brand now, and I think they still carry it, but I not stocked up, but I do have more. Hopefully eventually they'll carry the Neutrogena ones, but my skin has reacted the same way to both, so go me. But yeah, regarding the cold, I really want to, so vitamin C, moisturizer, and then sunscreen every day. I am just showing products because they're all simple, drugstore, not expensive, but I would say my skin has aged pretty well with me, so I'm not going to again. But about cold is I really want to start taking cold showers, because I'm aware of the benefits that it provides. I just haven't been able to bring myself to it. Sometimes I do, and it's like 2 seconds I stand in there, but it's just like, ugh. But also maybe that would help me decrease the amount of time I spend in the shower, because when I get in, no matter the time of day, a warm shower is just so nice. I enjoy it. And just now I found myself just standing in there, but I know I have things that I want to do, and I want to make use of my mornings. I don't want it to get away from me. I still want to make breakfast and have that before the boys wake up, and start getting some more water in. I usually do fill up my water bottle at the gym, so that's my second. I have a 24-ounce water bottle, and I usually do 2 by the time I'm like having breakfast, but I just don't like the water at the gym. So today I decided to just be scarce with my water. But I already filled it up again. I just need to get on it and get it down. And so this is something that is new to me in the last maybe few months or so. I used to just do pretty much the same practices, but just with my hands, and I still do with my hands for my nose, but I would just sweep up my nose, and it's like facial yoga. And then my eyebrows, bones, like eyebrow bones, I'd go under and sweep them up, and then I would do cheeks. So I do, all these are the same. The only one I don't do with that is the nose. And then I would do lips like that. And yeah, so that's gonna be that. I always have to make sure I put this on as soon as I get back out of the shower, because sometimes I'm taking steps, or I'm like walking around getting stuff together, and I'm like, oh, those steps didn't even count. And it makes a difference at the end, because you've seen, catching up on my steps and walking around the house. Another good thing about getting in the shower and just trying to be kept busy afterwards, other than the fact that it keeps me from taking that first nap, is it helps me prolong my first meal, which is important, especially in particular on days that I am up by 3:50 in the morning, as I was today. Started waking up at 3:50, didn't get out of bed until 4. And yeah, because if I am just downstairs, especially like right before I nap, I'm just like, I need to eat something. I just get hungry. I get so hungry right after my workout. And yeah, so allowing myself this time to come upstairs, and also a little bit of a distraction away from the fact that I am hungry, which I am now thinking about. But that's also another reason I try to get my 2 bottles of water in before a certain time. And so, anyway, again, all of this stuff could not have come to me immediately. Like, it took these last few months of learning these practices this way in order to implement them and execute them in the way that I am, in the successful manner that I am. It took a lot of practicing and trial and erroring to see what works for me. And mind you, I'm not just constructing it around what works for me, but also what works around our days, like mine and the boys, because I am home with them all day long. So yeah, and I don't look at that. Of course, it's a challenge, but I don't look at that as a hindering challenge. It's just, this is my life. Like, and I have asked and prayed for this in so many ways. I didn't realize that this is what I've wanted all along, but I've recognized that, and it's just to be in this place. And it's like, even every time I get to go into the gym, to be in that space and to be able to, you know, be here and just take up space with the people that I do, and to be able to, it's just, all I can say is that I feel very worthy of where I'm at in my life. And it has been a very long time since I've always known it. I've known that I'm so blessed, but it's a different thing to know it than it is to actually feel it and live in that way. Like, I can live in gratitude all I want, and I do. And I'm so grateful for everything. I have always been. And I say that so truthfully. But there is a difference that comes with it when you can actually feel it so often of the time, I think, is the biggest point. Because it's easy to be grateful when things are working out for you, but when you can still be grateful when there's challenges, when there's heartache or heartbreak, if you can still find a way to be grateful when there's hurt and pain and just things that you typically wouldn't want to feel. And that is like, this whole process, it's aching, it's hard, it's tough, it's challenging. I'm like, you know, just the pain of hunger alone, even that opens up my eyes to just understanding the world and people so differently. And just the way that my body is able to do the things and have the ability that I do, the way that I pray in the mornings before I get out of bed, knowing that I wouldn't be able to be doing this if not for God, you know, and being able to just submit everything up to a higher power and just know, like, this day is going to go exactly according to your plan. It just lifts so much pressure off of my shoulders that, like, I've needed to be lifted for so long. And this has allowed me the opportunity and has opened the door for me to recognize that again, and for me to start practicing that again, because I tried to carry so much on my own shoulders for so long. And these are things that I'm not even truly coming to terms with until literally right now, like in real time. But I've tried to carry so much on my own for so long because I felt like I needed to, even though I have the conscious awareness of a higher power and that I could always surrender it to that higher power. But to say that I always did it would be false. So it's just this whole process is just something that has allowed that to come more easily, not manageable, but yeah, I guess I would say more easily, more frequently, for sure. So we're gonna get back on track with the day. I'm getting a little bit distracted because I'm again enjoying this chatty time, but I'm gonna make the bed. Another thing I had to start doing, or not another thing, but something I had to start doing, was marking my water bottle, which I wanted to make sure to grab because I was to get footage of this, because I was like, genius idea, but I have to mark how many times I've had this. And then in a shaker bottle is where I will put my electrolytes a little later, and I will fill that up usually like 14 or 16 ounces. So then I'll write down that as well here, because I know that I need 6 of these and then an extra 10 ounces. But as I've started to incorporate more like sparkling waters and things like that throughout the day that count towards my water, I've needed to track it differently. So like if I have a sparkling water that's like 12 ounces, and I write the 12, and then that way I know that I'm hitting my water. Another thing I need to start practicing my routine in the heels. I had the mentality of like, I didn't want to get used to posing without heels, because when I pose, it'll be in my heels. So that was kind of that, but I don't want to prolong it anymore, especially if we are getting to a point where prep will actually begin and then we have just those several weeks. I was, though, so satisfied with the fact that I could still stand and walk around in heels, because it's been so long. Every time we had like an outing or I would dress up, which I still will always choose my boots. But yeah, I'd wear my boots, so I hadn't worn heels in a very long time. But anyway, okay, see, this is what happens when you put me in front of a camera and give me a mic. I will just stay here and talk about everything. We're gonna get some work done, and then we're gonna get breakfast made, because yeah, girl's hungry. Oh, and then my coffee, which I get with my almond milk. I'm wondering, should I make that now or should I wait? No, I'll drink water now, make my coffee, and have it with my breakfast. That's a plan. I just got off my phone call with Coach, and I just in real time wanted to kind of capture this freaking smile. I'm so excited because we have some dates in place for a show day. We have a date in place for what will mark 12 weeks out, and that's just kind of been like an epitome, or like that's been just a marker of like being 12 weeks out is just like, you know, you're ready, but you're not quite perfected yet, but you're ready to like really begin the process that's going to get you to that stage physique. And I'm just like, I can't even contain myself right now. When we were talking, I said, I'm so happy we're not on FaceTime, because if you were to see how big I'm smiling right now, I would just probably alarm him. But anyway, I just am so grateful to be able to be having this experience. I'm so excited for what's coming. I'm anticipating the hard work I know it's going to continue to take to get there, and the hard work it will take after I get there. But it's no different from the hard work I've put in that has gotten me here. And just being in this place, in this state of mind, in this health, I just have so much gratitude for it, so much gratitude for the ability to do this. For the people that I have on my team, like, it just feels so great to be a part of something so big, something like this, that's just, you know, being surrounded by like-minded people. And literally they're people I've not even met in person, but you just feel this connection. And to me, that's just what living is mostly about. It's just creating the connections with one another, being able to feed off of that. And in these moments, in these super high moments, because with these moments, I know there will also be moments of challenge, moments that feel low. You know, I'm not going to maintain this feeling forever. Feelings don't last forever. But right now I'm going to sit in it. I'm going to enjoy it. And I also will get a free meal this weekend. So this week is going to be the last week of this 8-week push. So it turned into a 7-week push. And yeah, I get a free meal, and it's so crazy but anyway, so I'm so excited. I'm just like, this is going to be fun. This is going to continue to be fun, because it already has been so fun. And I'm going to continue to pray my way through and continue to use prayer as my ultimate fuel. And just going to keep going, keep flowing, and let all of the things that are already happening for me
let them happen, and I'm going to meet them there where they are in due time. And it's just, it feels so great. Everything really has come together. Like, I'm at the point where it's going to be like weekly check-ins, and I know on a Saturday morning at 3:30 a.m. when I'm taking these photos, I'm probably not going to feel as excited as I feel right now, but maybe I will. I don't know, because this is all part of the process, and I'm just so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be officially in it, and plans will be updated. There's changes that will be made, and yeah, it's kind of time to dial it back a little bit too, he mentioned. And I think that just mostly means in terms of like cardio, not so much training. I'm still going to be on a plan, but I've gotten my physique to a point to where he feels comfortable allowing me to pump the brakes a little. And to me, that's exciting, because all the hard work that I have been doing has paid off, and I have worked really hard to I deserve this break. And I think that kind of brings up a point that I want to make of like good food, or not good food, but like indulging food. I don't think you need to earn that. I think that you should be allowed to treat yourself where you see fit. And the way that you can do that, and the way that you can allow yourself to do that more, is by being very in tune with yourself, by being intentional, and knowing like, if I'm going to indulge in this meal, or if I'm going to indulge in this snack, then that means like tapering away something else throughout the day. And all of that comes with a lot of intention and intuition and awareness. And those are all practices that I am realizing right now, over the years, I have developed, that I have formed, developed, strengthened, all to lead me to the mentality and the mindset that I have right now. Not specifically for bodybuilding, but just for my well-being entirely, because the way that I'm handling food and my training and everything like that, to me, it doesn't feel extreme. I know that it is, but the reason it doesn't feel extreme is because behind all of it is this discipline and this awareness that I already have, that's like in my second nature. And I'm just being able to practice that. I now have a platform that I can practice that discipline. And I know that that's why I'm thriving in this, is because I was meant for this. I am meant for this. I am built for this. And I say that so confidently. And I'm so happy that I get to say that so confidently, because this is nothing anybody can take away from me. This is something I need to commit to every single day. And if one day leads to another of not committing to this, and leads to another and another and another, I know where that will get me to, because I've been there before. In the sense of like the last 2 times I stepped on stage, afterwards, there was no plan for me. I got off stage, didn't hear from either of my coaches. They were both different. I also didn't do my due diligence. I wasn't responsible enough for myself to take the step and reach out to them to say like, hey, you know, how do I reverse out of this, or whatever. Like, I didn't have that responsibility. I asked my coach this time around, from our initial phone call, how he handles a reverse. That was like one of my important questions to ask. And he was like, gave me so much information. And from the beginning, like from the get-go, he was just so in tune with what would be healthiest for me and my body. And yeah, even having my boys, like that's one huge reason that I want to take care, that I feel like my health is so sacred, is because I want to be healthy for me, yes, and for them. And you know, who's to say that I would be this cautious about my health if they weren't here? Like, who's to say what things I would try, or to what measures I would go, whether it meant they were unhealthy or not, just to get to look the way that I need to look for stage. No, I don't know, right? Because I'm not there. This is my reality. My reality is that all these pieces have fallen together for me before. Yes, even the fact that I have my 2 boys, and when I had them, and the fact that I have been able to have them, and that they can be along for this. And one day I was thinking like, maybe this is my career shift, like this is how it looks for me in my life. This is what it looks like for me, where I left my workplace, I was home with the boys, and now I get to like dive into this, and I am treating it like a career. I am as serious, I'm devoted, I am responsible about it. And on that same note too, I will say I can remember days working my second to last job before becoming a stay-at-home mom. Well, I was a stay-at-home wife for a little bit while I was pregnant. Then I became a stay-at-home mom when he was born. My first was born. But I remember thinking like, oh, how cool would it be if I just got to like be home? And I do remember this being in terms of like bodybuilding, because I thought of, I would see bodybuilders vlogging and stuff, and a lot of them do coaching, and that's their form, of making money. And I just felt like how cool that would be to just like be at home and, just bodybuilding, working on that. Like it would be so much more manageable and effective, or like efficient. I'd be able to execute things, at least in my head. That's what I felt like. I was partially giving myself excuses, but I was also partially, I think, getting in tune with what was always meant for me, which now I get to do that. Now I'm home and I get to focus on obviously my kids and the house and maintaining the house and being as good of a wife and a mother, and an individual human being for myself and for community, for others. But I also get to just focus on bodybuilding, and what life am I living? Like, how is this my life right now? I just am so grateful for how things have panned out for me. And I did mention, I just feel so worthy of this. I do not question, there is no doubt in my mind that I am worthy of this life that I am living. And to truly say it, feel that, and believe it, it's such a breath of fresh air. And with that, I will close this out. And also, it is a time, one of the boys is waking up now, per usual, right on cue, on his consistent little cue. But so here we go. Thank you all for being a part of this journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited to show you little glimpses here and there. I do feel like there are big things ahead for myself, and that was also said to me by somebody I was highly influenced by, the most influenced by, to start this journey. And so I took those words very seriously, not to put any pressure on her, so I didn't tell her how much those words meant to me. But when I read them, I just felt like it just feels good to be believed in, So let me be that for you. And whatever it is that you're wanting to change, just know that it is possible. You can do it. You are completely set up to do whatever it is in your mind and in your heart. Whatever it is that you want to do, it's a reason those thoughts come into mind. It's a reason those thoughts are in your heart. If you feel it in your heart, then it is meant to be. And you should commit to pursuing those things. So live with grace. Have some grace for yourself today. Give yourself permission to indulge if that's where you feel what you feel like you want to do. Just always keep your goals in mind, and just know that there are also things that will hinder those goals. So be responsible for whatever those goals are, whatever changes you want to make. And I believe in you. I think you can make them happen. So let's keep making things happen.
On a cloudy day.